Hi, this is Mrs. Hamilton, and I'm here for a very special art lesson to celebrate the Easter season, which is coming up this weekend. And we are going to be making what's called an agamograph. An agamograph is a piece of art that creates an optical illusion. You make two different pictures, you cut them into strips and you assemble them by alternating one picture after another, and then you fold up the piece of paper, and when you fold it like in an accordion, you create two images that create an optical illusion. So this one, because we are celebrating Easter, so this is an Easter theme agamograph, you're going to start off with three crosses and the sunset representing the death of Christ. And then our second image is going to be the open tomb with a silhouette of Christ rising from the dead, being resurrected. And this is and also a sunrise representing Jesus' resurrection. So it's a really fun, neat activity, and I hope that you really enjoy it. There is a template attached to the details that will allow you it shows you exactly where to cut and where to draw the two images. I'm also going to use the template in this drawing tutorial, so I hope you enjoy, and happy Easter. The materials that you're going to need, you have a choice. I have attached a template for any agamograph of your choice, and it will be in the details below, and on there will be a sheet of paper that looks like this, and it will have sort of these strips, and you'll see 1 through 8 backwards and A through H. So what we're going to do, this will create the two images, and then we can put it together to make the agamograph. Or you can do it with a blank sheet of paper, which I will show you a little bit of how I did that as well. So you can either print out the template or take out a piece of paper. You are going to need a extra long piece of paper. Mine is a bit on the dirty side, but that's okay, because the only purpose of this sheet is to glue the strips down to make the agamograph. So no one's going to see this sheet of paper, but you want it to be extra long. You want it to fit two images side by side. So you can take two sheets of paper and glue them together. So you could take two sheets, glue them together like this, and then trim it down later. Or you can trim it down first, and then if you have something long enough, you can just use that long piece. It's up to you. I'll put that to the side for a minute. I'm going to be using for this project oil pastels. I like to use oil pastels because you can mix the colors, and the colors are very bright. However, you could use colored pencil, crayon, or even watercolor for this project. You could do watercolor for the sunrise and sunset, and then do Sharpie marker for the silhouette. And then you're also going to need a pencil, because we're going to sketch first, and then we're going to do all the color, and then glue for gluing, and scissors for cutting. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm actually going to use this template, but I'll also kind of review with you how I do it on the blank sheet of paper. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my scissors, and on this template, you're going to want to, there's a little thin strip for some extra space. Just trim that right off. You don't need that. It's just a little bit of, it's like for an 8.5, it's the half, and we don't need the half. And then you're going to cut down this center line, and you're going to wait before cutting anything else. So you're going to cut down this center line, and this is going to be the back of our two images. So we are going to be flipping these over and actually doing our art on the clean side, the front side. This is a guide for cutting and assembling later on. All right, I'm going to put this to the side for a minute. Now, if you are using a construction paper or just blank piece of paper, flip it up, match up my two corners, hold it down with my holding hand, and press on the fold. This is going to give me two pieces of paper, so I'm going to cut this in half. Like that. These are going to be my 2 images. Now I can just start drawing right away and then doing the lines on the back later, which is what I'm going to do. I will hold on to this, and I'm going to actually use the template for this example, but on here, if you are going to, after you do your pictures on the back side, this will be the back, you can take a ruler. If you have a ruler that is 1 inch thick, so I have this ruler here. This ruler is 1 inch thick. So all I have to do is hold the ruler and take my pencil, doing this on one sheet, draw a line, scooch it over, take my pencil, hold it down, draw a line, and keep going all the way across. I'm going to do that on both sheets of paper, okay? Or the other thing you can do is you can do measurement. So I'm going to take my inch side, and starting at the 0, I'm going to put it at the end of my paper, but you're going to want to mark twice. So I'm going to mark at 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm doing every inch. 5, 6, 7, 8, and then the 9 is the end because I'm using a piece of construction paper that's 9 by 12. And then I'm going to do another set of marks, again at the inches. 6, 7, 8, 9 is the end. And then you take those 2 marks, you line them up with your ruler, draw your line, just like that. And that's how you create nice straight lines, is by measuring and marking twice and using the 2 marks to draw your line. Makes nice straight lines. Because if you only do 1 mark, you're not going to get the straight line. It's not, you might get a little bit of a diagonal that you weren't expecting, where 2 marks marked at the same measurement is going to give you a nice straight line, just like this. You would do this on both pieces of paper, okay? And then on the back, you're going to put numbers on one side, letters on the other, and you're going to go backwards, because these are actually, this is the back side of our picture, and the front side, the 1 is going to end up on the left. So we want to go backwards. So it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then on the other sheet, I would do letters A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. The reason for that is so that we know which one is which picture is which. It helps us decipher the different pictures, which I will explain when we get to the assemble step. So I'm going to bring over my 2 sheets. I'm actually going to also bring over a really extra messy mat, because I like my little rainbow mat and I want to hold on to it for a little longer. So, and I'm using oil pastels, which are very messy. So you want to have a messy mat, even if you're using some other material. Okay, with our pencil, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw the 3 crosses. So we want to do the mountain, the hill that the crosses are on. So we're going to draw a hill going from one end to the next, going up and then down. I want to leave lots of space for my crosses. I don't want to make the hill all the way up here, because then I won't have any space for cross. So make sure you have lots of space for your crosses. And then I'm just going to draw a line, and we're making sort of a lowercase t for our cross that represents Jesus. And the other 2 crosses, I'm going to draw right next to it, touching the hill. So we have 3 crosses representing Christ and the 2 thieves. And we are going to then, I'm going to put that to the side for a moment, because we'll be doing color in just a moment. And then we're going to bring over, making sure my numbers are on the top. We're going to bring over our second sheet of paper, and this one is going to be the tomb and Jesus. So I'm going to do a little bit of a horizon line down at the very bottom. Kind of messed it up a little bit. No big deal. Using pencil for a reason. So I'm dressing it up. And then we're going to do the top of the tomb. We're going to use a rainbow curve. If you like, you can mark make 2 marks on each side so you know where you're going to start and end. And you're going to use that arm to draw those nice big curves. So I'm going to draw a nice big curve. It can be a little bumpy. It is a tomb, okay? It's made of rock. And then we're going to do the opening of the tomb, doing another rainbow curve, but smaller. So I'm going to mark. And then I'm going to, using my arm again, I'm going to show the opening of the tomb. Inside the tomb, we want to show the silhouette of Jesus. So we're going to start with up a little higher, a circle or oval for the head, 2 vertical lines for the neck. We're going to show a curve and down, but not all the way. We want to leave a little bit of space for the legs. And this is going to be the robe or body of Jesus. We're going to curve down for the shoulders and straight down for the body. He's wearing a robe. We're going to close it at the bottom. Okay. And then I'm going to do the hands sort of like open, like here I am. So I'm just going to use lines, stick arms, because later on when we add the oil pastel, it'll be much thicker. So I'm going to do doing the bend in the arm. So I'm going to start at the top where the shoulder is going to sit right about here. I'm going to bend down. So I'm making sort of a V shape, see? And then the open hand, like cupping, like here I am. And then another V and the hand coming out, sort of like this. And then legs for where and maybe some feet to show where he's standing. And then a lot of the imagery that of Jesus in pictures and paintings that people have created. He has long hair. That was a traditional hairstyle back in biblical times. So I'm just going to show where the hair is. And then we're going to leave the rest for color. Okay, so I'm going to bring over my crosses again. And you are going to need, we're going to be using a little bit of rainbow colors when we use yellow, orange, red, blue, and then later on black for our silhouette. So I'm going to put the black for last. So we're going to start with our lighter colors first, and you can see they are in a little bit of rainbow order. Okay, so we're going to start with our yellow, which is going to be the center of the sunlight. So I'm going to take that, and you do not have to worry about messing up. It's easy to cover up later on with black. So I'm going to start with the sun, the center of the sun, and I'm going to use another rainbow curve, and it's going to touch the very top of our hill of Calvary. And I'm going to fill that in, and I like to fill an arch shape. Fill that in, and then add a little extra yellow over the curve. So almost like you're adding more to the rainbow. Keep that yellow nearby and grab your orange, and you're going to follow around, continuing more rainbow curves. With your orange, you want to really thicken it up. Maybe add a little over the yellow. I'm going to take my yellow again and mix. So I'm going to overlap the yellow and orange and use it to mix. That's the thing about oil pastels that's really great, is that they're really easy to mix. If you have watercolor, if you have wet yellow next to wet orange, it will automatically mix a little bit together. After my orange, I want to do my yellow. And you want to touch the hill and overlap the hill, because later on when we add the black in, and if it goes off the paper edge, that's fine. But later on when we add the black, it's going to cover up any messy spots. And I'm going around. You can see I'm kind of holding on to the paper so it doesn't shift around too much. Coming out. The thing about the thinner paper is it likes to move a lot. But that's okay. It all works. And then we're going to take, and we can take our orange and mix orange into the red to have a little blend with oil pastel. Last color I'm going to take for the sky, or my sunset, is the blue, and I'm going to finish up adding blue into the empty spaces. And you can see why I have a mess mat, because I'm really going off the edge. my red to mix. Red and blue makes what? Anybody know? Red and blue makes what? It makes purple. All right. Then, after you're done with your sunset, you're going to grab your black oil pastel. Now, a quick warning about black oil pastel, it is very, very messy. That means if you touch it with your fingers, then touch other parts of your picture, you could add some black smudges. So be very careful when you're using black. It's what I call Incredible Hulk strong, and that means it can overpower any color. It is very dark and intense, so I'm going to take this, and then if you notice, it goes over my colors extremely easy because black is so dark and intense that it makes for great silhouettes and going over colors to show the image. And then I'm going to do a little outlining on the hill. See how it covers. Remember I told you it cleans up those like messy spots where you go outside of the shape. Be careful when touching the black because like I said, it is very dark and messy. So you want to be careful you don't accidentally rub with your hand because see, it even, look at it, makes your fingers really super dirty and can smudge. So you want to be careful with black oil pastel. And even if it does smudge a little bit, I mean, it's still going to be a beautiful piece of art. All right, there's picture number 1, looking really pretty. Put that to the side and bring over Jesus coming out of the tomb. We're going to do kind of the same steps. Now, everything, the tomb, the ground, and Jesus are going to be black. So it's okay if you accidentally overlap it with color. I'm going to start with yellow for the inside of the tomb. I'm just going to color over Jesus a little bit. No big deal, because remember, the black will overlap the color real easy. Okay? And then I'm gonna just put a hint of yellow around the tomb for mixing with my orange. And again, it can touch the tomb a little bit, go out of the paper edge. I'm gonna grab the orange. Orange is the next color in the color order. And we're gonna go around making rainbow lines again, really going around the top of the tomb like rainbow. Then grabbing our red. I will do some mixing after I get all the colors in. If you're wondering, why haven't you fixed, Mrs. Hamilton? Well, no problem. I'll be mixing in just a minute. And then a little bit of blue to finish up our sunrise. Remember, this is the sunrise, representing Jesus raising from the dead or coming back to life. And now I'm going to do a little mixing. So I'll take some red and mix it into my blue. Just like that. Take my orange, mix it into my red. Oops, see that thin paper, but that's okay. And then yellow, mixing into my orange. And then we're ready for a silhouette. So I'm going to take my black, do the ground. Watch out for that black, it's very messy. Going to do the tomb. So I'm going to outline first and fill it in. Careful not to touch the black too much, because remember, it's messy. And then there's Jesus. Do black. Legs, arms. we go. And all done with color. So there are the two pictures, just like that. And we're ready to move on to assembling, cutting and assembling our Agamograph. Okay, when it comes to assembling our Agamograph, all we have to do is flip over to the back. If you used the template I attached to the to this video, you already have lines and letters and numbers. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to start cutting. So I'm going to cut this first one. You want to be careful keeping the cutting nice and even. Maybe get a parent to help you cut. If you are still need a little practice, that's fine. Maybe get somebody to help you cut. And then I'm going to keep all my numbers together. Then I'm going to do my letters. It does not matter which picture is on which set of strips, by the way. It all will work together no matter what. It doesn't matter what order, as long as you have it, it doesn't, yeah. So it'll all work together just fine with or without. So even if you did the tomb on the letters, that's fine. Where my 3 crosses are on the letters of this one. Okay, so here are all my letters, here are all my numbers, keeping them kind of organized. I'm gonna grab the strip of paper. Numbers, letters, and glue. All right, first thing we're gonna do is we're going to organize. So I'm going to do numbers first. So we've got 8, 7, and we want to do 1 through 8. So we actually want to put them in order, not backwards. So 4, 3, 2, 1. And then I'm gonna take my letters and put them in order. So A, so it's gonna go, we're gonna alternate. So A1, B2, or you could do either or. You can do 1A, B, 2B, 3C, whichever works. But you wanna make sure that the letters are in between the numbers or the numbers are in between the letters. So I've got C. So it's all in order and it's alternating letters and numbers. All right, after you do that, it's time to glue it down. So I'm going to take my first strip, which is going to be A. You can do dot, dot, not a whole lot, or a little line. And you want to make sure to line it up either at the top or the bottom of your paper. It's okay if there's a little extra at the top. We can trim that off later. Okay, tap it down. Be careful because remember, if you're using oil pastel, it's still kind of messy. Even after we draw and cut, it's messy. So here's my 1. So that was A. This is 1. And you want to make sure it's lining up at the bottom, just a crack, a tiny crack of a space. This is going to help with the folding later on. Then B. And then 2 is the next one. So I'm just going to very gently put it together. Make sure all the pictures align on one side of the paper. And I'm going to keep going. So I am going to speed this up a little bit. You guys can pause the video and work a little bit on your own. And then when you're ready to continue the video, you can unpause. All right, this is my last piece. Making sure I leave just a hair in between each piece. You can see tiny little crack of space. You want to keep it pretty close together. And you can kind of see the two images together. And I'm just going to lightly press and I'm going to let it dry. So once this is dry, I'm going to come back and we're going to finish up and we'll be done. All right, I'll see you in just a moment. All right, I am back. My picture is dry. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to trim it up a little bit. So I'm just going to cut a little bit of the extra. And this is why I said do not worry if your backer paper, the paper that you glued everything onto, is a little extra big, because you can always trim. Okay. And I'm going to take this and we're going to start folding. Now you want to be careful because you're going to have to touch the artwork, so you want to be real gentle. So I'm going to start with one side and we're going to do what's called an accordion fold. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to flip to the back. You might need a parent to help you with this. And I'm going to fold and line it up and flip again. And this time folding inward. Flip and fold. It's okay if it's a little bit, like open, because you can always add a little extra glue later on if you need to. I am actually going to use this paper to help me push so I don't get too much oil pastel on my fingers, because it is real easy to do. So I'm going to fold. And then this way. Oh, it's a little too much. Just get a little on my fingers. And fold inward. Try and keep it straight. It's okay if it's not perfectly straight. It will all work. It's all over my mat. There we go. I'm gonna probably have to make a different mat here soon. That's okay. All right. Okay, I'll take this. All done folding. Now I have in the past, after I've done some of these like Agamograph folds, I've taken another piece of paper and used hot glue and opened them slightly and glued them on so that they stay in place. But it's up to you how you do this. And I will tell you, with the black oil pastel, it still does get a little bit dirty, but that's okay. So I'm gonna take it, and there is my finished. Hopefully you can see that. Okay. Ooh. All right, that is just amazing. That would make a great wall piece if you want to glue it on to another back, and that way when people you can hang it up, or maybe one of those shadow boxes where you can see it from multiple sides and walk by, or just, with string, maybe hang it up with string. I don't know, but this is just so cute and a really great example of what Jesus did for us, like for Good Friday, where we talked about his death on the cross, his sacrifice that he gave to us. And then coming up this Sunday, we will be celebrating him rising from the grave, his resurrection. So I wish everybody a happy Easter, and I will be thinking about all of you and praying for all of you during this time. All right, guys, I hope you have a good time and enjoy creating, and I will see you next time. Bye.